Hello everyone, welcome back to Ansarkari. So taking up next important set of topics. So firstly, we see that Justice Puttaswamy passes away. He played a very critical role in the right to privacy judgment. You all know about this, that right to privacy is the fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution, which is under Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. So this was his one of the major contributions. Also, he was the first person to identify or to raise up the challenges related to the Aadhaar scheme as well. Again, on similar lines of the data security aspect. So he could better decipher this thing beforehand. So this was again one thing that was highlighted by him. But again, in 2015, Supreme Court decided it must look at whether citizens they have the fundamental right to privacy under the Constitution or not. And thus, in 2017, we had this Puttaswamy judgment of right to privacy. So these we can say one of the landmark judgments and the contributions by him. So increasing incidents of online frauds and digital arrests, we talked about this yesterday also, calls for raising awareness for the, we can say at a wider scale. This is one of the major important steps, awareness and digital literacy. And prompt action also is needed when we're talking about, for example, in the form of it can be effective implementation of, again, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, or even like training of the personals can be another thing. So here we see that cyber criminals reportedly they are posing as officers from the Mumbai police. So elderly people they are getting trapped into different kinds of financial frauds. So we can talk about the role of ED also when it comes to again cases related to money laundering under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Role of certain is important. Then even the role of social media companies, the big tech companies like Meta and Google is important in terms of awareness generation. So digital arrest. So even our Prime Minister talked about this in the Man Ki Baat address. So we should know what kind, what nature of frauds are happening so as to protect ourselves. National Cyber Coordination Center. So Prime Minister spoke to it and will synchronize activities amongst various agencies. And then investigation is another stage. So Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. There is again one national cybercrime reporting portal at the same time. So one of the major challenges in the financial frauds is that we're not able to trace down the main culprit or the person behind it. So most of these cases, they remain unresolved. For example, we have the data like in January to April 2024, Indians lost rupees 120 crores in digital frauds, 1400 crores in trading scams, and then rupees 220 crores in investment scams. So you can imagine the scale of these frauds. So perpetrators, mostly they are traced down to Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. So bilaterally also, because again, it is kind of a borderless crime. So our relations with these countries, and that is also going to play important role in terms of tracing down the person. The psychological pressure fraudsters they are impersonating. Youth empowerment and Rozgar Mela is one form when I'm talking about providing employment opportunities. So appointment letters are distributed to over 51,000 selected candidates for the government jobs, 40 locations nationwide. So it's done through video conferencing. So stringent law against the paper leak has been also enacted when talking about the Public Examination Act of 2024 to protect future of youth. So one is again when we're talking about the interest of youth. So first is the job creation and skilling in the context that the skills are in sync with the job in demand in the market. So their role of again NEP is important when you're talking at the higher education level. Then continuous monitoring of vacant positions is being done. The recruitment process through online systems. So digitization is better helping us in linking and tracing and monitoring. And special benefits to women, persons with disabilities, and candidates from aspirational districts when it comes to maintaining the equity and social justice. So appointments through esteemed agencies like UPSC, SSC, Railway Recruitment Boards, and IBPS. So even 1400 courses are also available at the same time at I Got Karmyogi portal. So this is important from the perspective of upskilling and reskilling yourselves. So training, and again, recently we've been talking about that employment incentive scheme was launched in this year's budget. So mobile app. So again, digitization or the digital technology is helping to solve grievances of rice millers in Punjab. So it provides ease of again accessibility, ease of filing your complaints, and then we can also get to know about the nature of complaints. If there is any again common element in that. So that is one of the benefits of again using one mobile app and seamless procurement of paddy and custom milled rice was promised by the government. So this app was launched by the Food Corporation of India grievances redressal system is so it was launched by Consumer Affairs Ministry. So farmers and millers had alleged delay in the procurement of paddy in the state. So it affects again the quality of the produce also. There's seen to be like reduction in the weight. So it leads to again the prices at which they would be procured by FCI. So it would enhance transparency and at the same time accountability of the institutional stakeholders and the government stakeholder satisfaction to harness technology for good governance, minimum government and maximum governance. Celebration of Diwali, we've been talking about how we need to shift more towards sustainable celebrations and following again the core aspect related to the celebrations instead of going ahead or getting so much indulged into the materialistic aspects. So grandeur of the Treta Yug in Ayodhya, can see Ram temple and Deep Utsav hota hai. So in again Ayodhya we see that every year certain kind of record is set. So this is again Ayodhya as a cultural hub, सांस्कृतिक एम्पावरमेंट एम्पावर्ड सिटी है, सक्षम है, मॉडर्न डेस्टिनेशन भी है, आधुनिक है, एक्सेसिबल लोकेशन है, सुगम्य, सीनिक एनवायरनमेंट, सुरमई एंड इमोशनली रेजोनेंट प्लेस. सो भावनात्मक, क्लीन सिटी, स्वच्छ, हेल्दी, कम्युनिटी, आयुष्मान. So these are the keywords when we're talking about again, even not just from the perspective of celebration of festivals, but even overall development of a region. तो क्या elements key elements होंगे. So solar city, we see generating first model solar city Ayodhya generating 70 million units of electricity. So self-sustainable है. देख सकते हो धर्म पथ, राम पथ, भक्ति पथ. So that's their greenfield townships create किए जा रहे हैं. So एक तरीके से we see hub and spoke based uh, is the model that is being followed for infrastructure creation, which is having again its own spillover effects. So eco-friendly fireworks display, pollution-free show would be hosted. So celebration of again grandiousness and the heritage and sustainability, like the diyas that would be made, we can say again the mitti diyas. So that is also going to be linked with the backward and the forward linkages in the sense it will be promoting more of sales on the part of the like the cottage industries or SHGs who are into making of those diyas. So again, like being vocal for local is, you can say, the aspect being promoted. The themed gates would be made. So Guinness World Record attempt for Saryu Aarti would be there. So it will be attempt will take place at 1100 Vedacharyas. Vedic scholars जो हैं, they will perform this Saryu Aarti. And global participation definitely again possible with the help of technology. Underrepresentation of women in judiciary. So this is one aspect when we're talking about gender discrimination. So one aspect would be again in the judicial sector. So one, we talk about increasing the women labor force participation rate, as we see that the economic survey 2023-24 stated world average is at 47.8% something. In India, it is at still 37%. So that is one broader aspect. Now, particularly in judiciary, we're talking about, so in district judiciary, we see only 36% of women are there. So there should be a level playing field, and the behavioral aspect can be again another thing. And then from the perspective of promotion of more of women taking up such examinations is another thing. When you're talking about again the core areas or the far-flung areas like the rural or the tier 2 and tier 3 regions, still we see like child marriage is a concern and woman or the girl child is still seen as a burden. So how to attract more of talent from that region remains still a challenge and a concern for us. So representation of women, it is uneven across high courts in these states like Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. So Department of Legal Affairs show approximately 15% of the enrolled advocates are women. So representation, all this data is reflecting it is very low. The situation is very bleak. So funnel effect की बात हो रही है. So creating a smaller pool of candidates who may be able to establish themselves in the system and be considered for elevation. So this is the funnel effect. So senior positions pe we see less of women, be it advocates on record. Policy gap exists. So family responsibility, again, very important when it comes to how parents see their girl child. Absence of maternity benefits, minimum stipend meeting this threshold is getting difficult. So woman-centric perspective, जैसे हमने reforms की बात करी in the criminal laws, so we saw that there was a clear shift towards woman-centric interest in that as well. So basic infrastructure भी available नहीं है. ये बाकी challenges हम बात कर सकते हैं. Like nearly 100 district courts, they have no dedicated washrooms. So course correction definitely is needed, and prioritizing women needs, like be it through the gender-based budgeting that we see. So that is another way of prioritizing the women needs. So be it through policy making, we need to have the women needs and their interest at the core when it comes to policy formulation, its implementation, and then in taking care of the infrastructural amenities that should be there. Gender sensitive recruitment should be another aspect. Transfer policies and adequate training and support. So all these things can play important role. And safety is definitely one of the major concerns. So how solar is going to be a game changer in women empowerment? So firstly, solar, if we were talking about its impact of decentralization. So decentralization in the sense of power generation. So both impacts in terms of environmental sustainability and societal structures. So again, जब हम social justice की बात कर रहे हैं, तो renewable energy के impact सिर्फ environmental benefits तक ही limited नहीं है. They have the socio-economic developmental impacts. तो women making them direct participants in the economy, catalyst for the change. Because हम for example अगर schemes की बात कर रहे हैं तो पीएम सूर्योदय योजना, सो वहाँ पे हम making the households self-sustainable in terms of energy generation. So they can play very important role in supplying the surplus amount of electricity. So एक तरीके से वो भी financial empowerment generate कर सकते हैं, particularly for the women. And also in terms of from the perspective of health also, because clean power source होगा तो indoor pollution हमारे लिए एक बहुत बड़ा concern रहता है, which again is majorly impacting the woman health. So that can be another way of empowering the woman. And even in terms of like economy or businesses, for example, यहाँ एक example है गुजरात से, little run of Kutch, women salt farmers, they have transitioned from expensive diesel to solar pumps. So this has boosted their income by 94%. And again, environmental benefit of reduction of CO2 emissions by 1,15,000 metric tons annually. So there are different initiatives like Barefoot College hai, Grameen Shakti Bangladesh, Solar Sister Africa may empower women to become solar engineers. So they offer localized solutions also. Energy security में भी contribute कर सकते हैं, economic growth में भी contribute करेंगे, and self empowerment of the women. Job generations होंगी, and again will help in increasing the women labor force participation rate at the same time. So local level पे we can see empowerment. So clean and scalable are still the challenge कि इसको large scale पे implement करना एक important role play करेगा. And in terms of addressing even the multi-dimensional poverty contribute कर सकता है. तो challenges आगे जाके हो सकते हैं in the context of geographical imbalance, because again solar energy आपको हर हर लोकेशन, हर जोग्राफिकल लोकेशन पे सेम अमाउंट ऑफ एफिशिएंसी से नहीं जनरेट की जा सकती है. इन्वेस्टमेंट्स चाहिए इनिशियली, विच आर अगेन huge capital investments in the initial stages. So access to formal credit still remains a challenge in the far-flung areas. तो इसको क्या हम प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर, प्रायोरिटी बेस्ड लैंडिंग से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं, नहीं कर सकते, तो दैट नीड्स टू बी लुक्ड इनटू. So better training would also be required of the women. So role of NGOs, community participation, role of panchayats become important, and policies and gender, so inclusive and equitable. Escalation ladder. So Iran should show strategic restraint. World should rein in Israel. So talking about solution, अभी हम like शॉर्ट टर्म सॉल्यूशंस की ही बात कर रहे हैं. अगर हम ग्लोबल लेवल पे बात कर रहे हैं ऑफ इंश्योरिंग हाउ दिस war comes to an end when we're talking about the Israel Hamas war. So wider regional conflict, हमने tier war की बात करी कि it has turned into a 3-tier war. Recently, Israel has attacked Iran, but again, there were concerns कि वो energy facilities पे attack ना करे. So that has not been done. It has attacked the military facilities. Nuclear facilities पे भी attack नहीं हुआ है. So that is one safer thing. But still, the attacks are happening, so that is a cause of concern for us. So regional conflict बन गया है ये war between two key players in West Asia. And ultimately, it is in the end, all of us wants peace. So steps are needed. So this has raised questions regarding the relevance and the effectiveness of United Nations in today's reforming or evolving the geopolitical situation, be it even Russia-Ukraine war also. So on this aspect, simultaneously, we have talked about how BRICS has become an important institution because that is in sync with the changed geopolitical dynamics today. So it is treating everyone on the same level playing field. So it is including developed countries. It is again having the countries from the global south as well. So both developed and developing countries are contributing together. So even in terms of its functioning, it is more democratic in nature, more equitable in nature, more representative, more multilateral. So what steps have been taken to curb the vehicle pollution? NGT notice to the police. So कल हमने बात करी कि how or what we can learn from China's electric vehicles industry or the adoption rate was majorly that this one factor has given huge amount of benefits in China in terms of reducing the air pollution because the adoption rate has of the electric vehicles has been very high in China. So firstly, how we can ensure that the adoption rate in India, particularly अगर हम दिल्ली की case study की बात करते हैं तो कैसे increase कर सकते हैं? We are already having the schemes, government is already providing the subsidy, but still उस scale का उस level का adoption rate हमें नहीं देखने को मिला है. So in this, since NGT has issued notices to the Delhi Police Commissioner and the Traffic Commissioner to file a response detailing actions taken to control vehicular pollution. Observe that transparent process होना चाहिए to invoke different stages of GRAP. तो short term measure, long term measure की हमने बात करी कि why only in winters we are talking about the depleting or deteriorating air quality or rising air pollution. हम इसके लिए पहले से प्रिपेयर्ड या पहले लॉन्ग टर्म मेजर्स क्यों नहीं ले रहे हैं? इवन शॉर्ट टर्म मेजर्स आर नॉट हेल्पिंग अस इन एनी मेजर सेंस. तो एक तरीके से वेस्टेज ऑफ रिसोर्सेज भी हो रहा है. सो सुओमोटो पावर्स है with the NGT and it has also pulled up the Commission for Air Quality Management for the lapses in preventing the dip in the air quality. So सबको विंटर्स में ही क्यों याद आता है? इवन रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज की भी अगर हम बात करते हैं तो. So similarly, even Supreme Court has also asked कि Delhi government ने क्या measures लिए हैं to prevent it. So Central Pollution Control Board and Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology forecasts. So in terms of even we are seeing the advancements in our weather forecasting systems also. So hyper localized systems can better help us in terms of studying and monitoring the changes which are happening at the local level. Well, like when we're talking about more precision, more automated systems being deployed. So right now, like we see that 12 into 12 kilometer grid is followed. But when you're talking about more precision based, more precise, so we are working upon creating a 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer grid system. So it is going to be so precise in nature. So usage of again Doppler radars or synthetic aperture radars, they are being used when it comes to the forecasting aspect. Well, we have talked a number of times about what are the major factors contributing to air pollution, but why are we not able to move ahead of it? We're not talking about these solutions. The Indian Agriculture Research Institute, again, when it comes to the stubble burning challenges. So कल भी हमने बात करी कि penalty would be imposed 5,000 से 15,000 तक immediate penalty would be imposed. So again, farmers कि जब हम ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक सिचुएशन डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं, will they be firstly able to pay such a huge amount of penalty is one concern. So abhi we are not seeing any kind of again a wholesome or a comprehensive approach in terms of dealing with air pollution in different metropolitan cities. So wind direction भी change हो जाता है during winters. So wind direction change from westerlies to northwesterlies and they keep the weather clear and visibility remains high. So easterlies में opposite होता है. So Dhanvantri Jayanti and 9th Ayurveda Day. So gift of healthcare and wellness worth rupees 12,850 crore rupees. So we see that Expansion of the health coverage to senior citizens aged 70 years above under the Ayushman Bharat Yojana has been done. So rupees 5 lakh of free treatment and 6 crore senior citizens to benefit through Ayushman Y Vandana card. Then healthcare infrastructure is again another priority. India's first All India Institute of Ayurveda has been created. Medical colleges, Mandsaur, Neemuch, and Sioni में foundation stone for 6 ESIC hospitals. Central drugs testing laboratories बनाई जा रही हैं. So here we can again in terms of drug testing and the standards. So the role of CDSU is important, Central Drug Standard Control Organization. Then research and development another area. Ayushman Centers of Excellence, Central Research Institutes in Yoga, Naturopathy, and Center of Excellence in the Nipur Institutes. So overall, when we're talking about increased allocation, GDP allocation for the healthcare, it should rise up till 5 to 6%. Currently, again, it is at very lower level. So digitization in healthcare, we talked about, again, artificial role of artificial intelligence in terms of ensuring equitable access or in terms of reducing the out-of-pocket expenditure, making healthcare services more affordable are going to be the important role, like telemedicine, e-sanjeevani की हमने बात करी. So full digitization of vaccine centers and services हो रहा है. Centralized database है for the existing allied and healthcare professionals and institutes. And then boost Make in India and health awareness. So again, with all this investment, the role of pharmaceutical industry is also going to play critical role, and it is also somewhere going to boost the production in that aspect. So production linked incentive scheme, bulk drug parks, bulk drugs की बात की जा रही है, manufacturing of critical care equipment, so that again we are able to reduce the import dependence also. Like in terms of drug manufacturing, we still see huge amount of import dependence on the raw material, that is the active pharmaceutical ingredient जिसको API बोलते हैं. So देश का प्राकृति एंड परीक्षण अभियान है टू रेज हेल्थ अवेयरनेस. तो फिट इंडिया कैंपेन हो गया. सो ईट राइट जो मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुआ, ये अवेयरनेस जनरेशन के एस्पेक्ट में we can talk about the examples. So new MIDH guidelines to support vertical farming, hydroponics amongst the 4 components. So mission for integrated development of horticulture. So it's important when it comes to like precision agriculture promote karna या encourage the aquaponics. So crop diversification, even the diversification of farming practices, like farmers, they know about very less methods. या फिर again they are just cultivating the major food grains, the cereal grains. So this aspect or this scheme is going to play that important role when we're talking about increasing the climate resiliency, the agriculture, going ahead with smart agriculture, precision agriculture. So 4 components हैं: hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical farming, and precision agriculture. सो ये एक सेंट्रल स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम है प्रमोटिंग कल्टीवेशन ऑफ, अगेन हॉर्टिकल्चर है तो फ्रूट्स वेजिटेबल्स, ट्यूबर क्रॉप्स, मशरूम्स, फ्लावर्स, कोकोआ, ऑल ऑफ दिट वुड बी द मेन एरियाज. सो प्री प्रोडक्शन सपोर्ट होगा, प्रोडक्शन के टाइम पीरियड पे सपोर्ट होगा, पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट सपोर्ट होगा, प्रोसेसिंग में, देन मैनेजमेंट में, मार्केटिंग एक्टिविटीज, entire supply chain would be taken care of. So vertical farming यहाँ पे again we need to be clear with the basic ideas कि hydroponics में क्या होता है. तो technique of growing plants using water based nutrient solution rather than soil, तो इसको soilless farming भी हम बोलते हैं. Aquaponics हो गया practice of combining aquaculture and hydroponics into one ecosystem. Vertical farming again vertical है तो growing plants in controlled environment stacked vertically. So this can play important role when we are talking about against creation of smart cities. So जब हम मियावाकी मेथड की बात करते हैं तो vertical farming can also help. And precision agriculture, usage of technology like artificial intelligence की हम बात कर रहे हैं, या using drones की हम बात कर रहे हैं, again satellites की बात करते हैं when it comes to monitoring or assessing the qualities. So that again the crops in the soil receives exact quantity of inputs जो actually required है, which are safer also. So natural horticulture mission भी है which was started in 2014. तो स्टिल भी द रेट्स आर नॉट बीइंग रिवाइज, 10 ईयर ओल्ड रेट्स ही हम अभी फॉलो कर रहे हैं, तो ये एक इशू है. burgeoning expenditure of elections is चैलेंज. सो जब हम बात कर रहे हैं साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शन को इम्प्लीमेंट करने की, तो उसके थ्रू क्या हम इस चैलेंज को रिजॉल्व कर पाएंगे, या जो एक्सपेंडिचर है, इलेक्शन एक्सपेंडिचर होता है, उसको लिमिट कर पाएंगे नहीं कर पाएंगे, को कंसर्न है. एंड यहाँ पे वी सी द टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर, फर्स्टली यूएस प्रेसिडेंशियल और कांग्रेस इलेक्शंस की बात हो रही है, वहां पे कंपेयर किया जा रहा है, तो वी आर सीइंग इट इज इक्विवेलेंट टू 1,36,000 करोड़ रुपीस. सो इंडिया में क्या लिमिट्स है? इलेक्शन एक्सपेंडिचर लिमिट फॉर कैंडिडेट्स इज 95 लाख रुपीस पर लोकसभा कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी. लार्जेस्ट स्टेट्स में, स्मॉलेस्ट स्टेट्स में दिस इट इज दिस मच. लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली में जब हम स्टेट्स की बात कर रहे हैं तो इट इज 40 lakhs, 28 lakhs रिस्पेक्टिवली. सो दीज आर सेट बाय इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया. सो इंडिविजुअल पर लिमिट्स हैं, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जो एक्सपेंडिचर कर सकती है उस पर कोई भी लिमिट नहीं है ड्यूरिंग इलेक्शंस. तो इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स की हमने बात करी थी कि दिस वाज अ रिफॉर्मेटरी मेजर विच विल बी प्रमोटिंग मोर ट्रांसपेरेंसी, मोर अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड कर्बिंग द यूज ऑफ ब्लैक मनी. बट उस तरीके से इट कुडंट फंक्शन एंड देयर वर अगेन सर्टेन प्रॉब्लम्स विद इन दैट आल्सो. सो इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स की बात की जा रही है. सो चैलेंजेस अगेन जब हम बात कर रहे हैं वर्ल्ड डेमोक्रेसीज, दे बिकम वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, इंक्रीज एक्सपेंडिचर है, यूज ऑफ ब्लैक मनी बहुत होता है. So most often again the candidates they are breaching जो expenditure limits लगाई जाती हैं. So solution क्या है? We need a solution to again track it. Possible reforms, Indrajit Gupta Committee, then Law Commission report 1999. So उन्होंने advocate किया state funding elections होना चाहिए, so that government partially bears जो भी expenditure किया जाएगा. And इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए अगेन वी स्टिल नॉट हैव क्लैरिटी ऑन कि इसको इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे किया जाएगा, इसका फ्रेमवर्क कैसे बनाया जाएगा. सो अभी साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस की हम बात कर रहे थे. सो एज अ पार्ट ऑफ इलेक्टोरल रिफॉर्म्स दिस इज वन एरिया. So firstly, law must be amended to explicitly provide कि financial assistance by political party to its candidates कितना होना चाहिए. Secondly, there should be ceiling, political party के expenditure पे भी होना चाहिए जो भी exist नहीं करती है. There's no end to it. And additional judges must be appointed in high courts for speedy disposal of election related cases. Deep rooted nexus होता है between politicians and the donors, creating entry barriers for the genuine candidates without deep financial backing. So इंडिया में भी ग्राउंड लेवल की भी जब हम बात करते हैं कि आपको अगर किसी पार्टी से टिकट भी चाहिए तो वहां पे भी वी ऑफन गेट टू नो अबाउट कि कितना करोर्स में यू गेट टू बाय दैट टिकट, आप खरीदते हो उसको, आपको जेन्युइन बेसिस पे एलोकेट नहीं की जाती. देन नाइट स्काई टूरिज्म. सो ये हमने बात करी है पहले. उत्तराखंड इज प्रमोटिंग इट एस्ट्रो टूरिज्म इनिशिएटिव. So it is going to again majorly attract the youth tourism also, generating additional revenue for the state government. So like you can watch the meteor showers, Neptune watch hai, inclusive package up off के जाते हैं. Orion Nebula you can watch in the evening. It's a constellation. Then astrophotography can be promoted. Nature walks and bird watching can be done. So this is nature-based tourism is what we are promoting, but ensuring it remains sustainable is again should be the main focus area. So interactive DIY stations बनाए जाएंगे. So that's how it is being put forward in an interesting manner. So explore, discover, and connect. So junk model code of conduct. So reforms की जब again this is the second element जो हम बात कर सकते हैं about the electoral reforms, raising the effectiveness of MCC. So again बोला जा रहा है, it has become a convenient alibi, source of distraction for the election monitoring, disruption of routine governmental activity. So what is needed is an election commission that is enforcing the law. So hate speech की एक हम बात कर सकते हैं in this context, and we need to understand MCCs for you. So no party or candidate shall include in any activity which may aggravate existing differences or create mutual hatred. So सबको पता है, but again in people they get into again the vote bank politics. So at that point of time we are seeing that hate speech के incidents report किए जाते हैं. Parties candidate shall refrain, but क्या वो कर पाते नहीं कर पाते वो main question है. So election commission is yet to take any step in these cases. So instead of acting as guardian of the spirit of free and fair elections, जो हम main role की बात करते हो, talking about again the success of ECI also in this context, it has been able to do so. So the EC has reduced MCC into a rule book full of legal minutiae with no regard to the spirit underlying this code. So mindless pursuit of trivial details of placement of party flags or mechanical. So firstly, awareness generation भी होना चाहिए even amongst the people regarding the essence or the role of the model code of conduct. So Representation of People Act 1951, it is again laying down the do's and don'ts about the parties and the candidates. So a question is, do we actually need MCC or not? So definitely we really need this. That is why we have it also. But उसमें within reforms किए जाने चाहिए to translate the spirit of law into set of reforms for free and fair election and just elections, so that people are not enjoying the unfair advantages. So to provide level playing field, bribing of voters नहीं होना चाहिए इसमें, और like penal actions हम include कर सकते हैं. Yes, still we see that it is not like superfluous या effectiveness अभी भी है of model code of conduct, but the political parties still or the candidates who are contesting still don't have that fear of it. So power that hasn't peaked. So when we're talking about still 70% of power being generated from the thermal power stations in India. Firstly, यहाँ यूके का एग्जांपल लिया गया. Phasing out coal based plants doesn't hold for India because India is a developing country. आप यूके से कैसे compare कर सकते हो? The size is so big. जब हम Indian even geographical size की बात करते हैं, we are a developing country. The demand is going to increase with time. We need to take care of energy security at the same time. So we can't go directly for phasing out of coal. Phasing down की हमने बात करी, तो gradual transition is what we are working upon. And India does not have access to cheap gas to substitute coal. Still, again, at the same time, we are working upon the alternatives also, generating adequate installed capacity of renewable energy, जिसमें major share close to again 85-86 gigawatts is of solar energy, followed by wind energy, then large hydropower is there, nuclear energy पे भी हम work कर रहे हैं. So we are working in multi-dimensional manner, but it is going to be a gradual thing. Nuclear sector contributes less than 3% right now. So growth in renewable energy may look spectacular, but it's far less than what is required to meet the demand in 2030. So we are having our own Panchamrit targets, 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity हमें generate करनी है by 2030. So every year we are trying to ensure कि the installed capacity that we are generating or able to invest into that increases every single year, and that is happening also. सो इंडिया इज वेल ऑन ट्रैक जब हम इवन ग्लोबल ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस emissions की बात करते हैं फ्रॉम इंडिया, सो दैट इज वेरी लो कंपेयर टू द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज. Climate finance still it remains a challenge. So common but differentiated responsibilities are not recognized by the developed countries. So installing the flue gas desulfurizers is very bad, less than 5%. So इसमें जो इंडस्ट्रियल emissions को रिड्यूस करने की बात होती है तो ये एक FGDs है. So even in coal, we are seeing कि capacity generation would be increasing in coming times of the thermal power stations. So in that, we are focusing upon how we can make it more sustainable, more safer is focusing upon green coal is one aspect. So even in that, like CSR funding एक aspect हो सकता है, and carbon trading is another aspect. Renewable purchase obligations एक दूसरा method है of making it more sustainable. So India, Spain slammed the attacks on UN troops in Lebanon. So why not only UN troops, but the civilian population, the people are dying even. That is a major concern. So attacks on the nation's interim force in Lebanon. So Hezbollah is based there in Lebanon. Highlighted the safety and security of peacekeepers. So UN peacekeepers के रोल की भी हम बात कर सकते हैं जब हम यूएन रिफॉर्म्स की बात कर रहे हैं. उनका कितना इम्पोर्टेंट रोल रहा है जब हम अभी दो मेजर रीजनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट देख रहे हैं. पैरामाउंट इम्पोर्टेंस है, मस्ट बी इंश्योर्ड बाय ऑल. तो अभी हम अगेन सीज फायर की बात कर रहे हैं, शॉर्ट टर्म सीज फायर. So India's defense exports have increased 30 times over the past decade, with the country now exporting equipment to more than 100 countries now. So this is again, in a way, also reflecting our self-sufficiency or indigenization, specifically in the defense sector, that we are also able to increase our exports by 30 times. And this picture you can see again inaugurating the Tata Aircraft Complex in Vadodara. So it will be making C-295 transport aircraft manufacturer in India. So the first C-295 aircraft was delivered to India in September 2023. So it will having additional benefits, again job creation होगी और economic empowerment होगी, regional development और ज़्यादा होगी. It will be again leading to more technology transfer at the same time. Medicinal foods category that is missing from the regulators plate. So regulator की जब यहाँ बात कर रहे हैं, the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. So firstly, we have a look at the pictures. So this is dried ashwagandha roots. So citrus, lemon, blossom. And here you can see this is turmeric, which is the healthy fresh turmeric. So Ayurveda की जब हम बात करते हैं, role of Ayush Ministry, Indian knowledge एक जो एस्पेक्ट है अगेन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर सकता है. सो मेडिसिनल फूड्स जब हम न्यूट्रिशनल सिक्योरिटी की बात करते हैं और गोइंग द ट्रेडिशनल वे, द कन्वेंशनल वे, बट यहाँ पे कंसर्न है फर्स्टली लैबोरेटरी टेस्ट ने जो लैबोरेटरी टेस्ट सर्विसेज हैं वो इतने वाइडर स्केल पे नहीं है, क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स नहीं होते हैं वाइडर स्केल पे. सो मोर रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट वाला एस्पेक्ट है. हाउ दे कैन प्ले इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन फूड फोर्टिफिकेशन ऑल्सो. वी डोंट नो कि कितना अगेन इसका भी एक्सेस हमारे लिए हार्मफुल हो सकता है. तो एक वो एस्पेक्ट है, वी आर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट कि डेली कंजम्पशन कितना क्वांटिटी में हमें कंज्यूम करना चाहिए. थेरेप्यूटिक ट्रायल्स और ज्यादा होने चाहिए, डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज होनी चाहिए. लाइक बेंगलुरु में देयर इज यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ ट्रांस डिसिप्लिनरी हेल्थ साइंसेज एंड टेक्नोलॉजी. Safety of food as medicine. So traditional use, empirical support है for the use of plants for medicinal purposes. New combinations can be created. So more trying and testing, more research and development इसलिए हमें चाहिए in this context. like whole rhizome as well of one of its better known bioactives, curcumin. उसके बेनिफिट्स हैं जब हम एग्जांपल्स की बात कर रहे हैं. कैंसर टू इन्फ्लेमेशन ट्रीटमेंट में भी दे प्ले वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. सो वी हैव approximately 1800 Indian food plants identified so far. जो हम particularly इस यहाँ पे वर्क की बात हो रही है, इससे भी ज्यादा होंगे डेफिनेटली, which are used in both food and medicine. सिर्फ 5% documented है. So we need a comprehensive data on this. So India Food Composition Table. This is the official reference that we have. So herbal standards होने चाहिए. Ayurvedic, pharmacopoeia sites, herbal standards should be there. So discord and conflict में we look at the challenges. Problems with the listing of plants में extraordinary level of discordance चाहिए, ambiguity है, how scientific names they are used to refer to plants, lack of information है, conflicting evidence है about the plants parts कौन से use किए जाने चाहिए, and collect more DNA and chemical evidence. Plant taxonomists, they are developing better insights into how plants are related to one another, making changes. तो कॉम्बिनेशंस कितना सेफ होने वाले हैं हमारे लिए. स्टैंडर्ड नेम्स होना चाहिए, स्टैंडर्ड्स भी होने चाहिए, सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स. अश्वगंधा है जिसको हम गिलोय बोलते हैं, तो कोविड-19 में भी टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस थिंग अलॉट कि गिलोय या फिर अश्वगंधा वी नीड टू कंज्यूम, हमारी इम्यूनिटी बूस्ट करने में इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर सकते हैं. तो गिलोय के लिए फ्रूट्स सबके अपने बेनिफिट्स हैं. सो रेगुलेटर का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होगा. एफएसएसएआई, सीडीएससीओ जब हम मेडिसिनल कंजम्पशन की बात करते हैं. हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस इंडस्ट्री इज सेट टू ग्रो इन द कमिंग ईयर्स. तो ग्लोबली एक्सेप्टेड स्टैंडर्ड्स होने चाहिए ताकि हम एक्सपोर्ट भी कर पाए. तो जैसे वी टॉक अबाउट द ग्रोथ एंड अडॉप्शन ऑफ योगा, सिमिलर लाइंस पे हम मेडिसिनल फूड्स की बात कर सकते हैं जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले एक इंडिया एज अ हब एक्ट कर सकते हैं इन दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट. Catastrophic warming is still on the cards. So still again, in this picture we are seeing again COP29 Baku में होने जा रहा है. So this is a picture of the flame towers, trio of skyscrapers in Azerbaijani capital Baku. So here it will be hosted November 11 to 22. So nationally determined contributions, क्या हम उनको again assess कर पाए, analyze कर पाए कि कितना benefit हुआ, कितना effectively countries adopt कर पाई. तो emissions cut by 2.6% from 2019 to 2030, but they are up from 2% last year. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is there. उसके अंदर है NDCs. So इसमें इंट्राजेनरेशनल इक्विटी की भी हम बात करते हैं, उसके ऊपर डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट होगा. It is about again our survival in the end. Current national climate plans fall miles short of what is actually needed to stop the warming from wrecking billions of lives and livelihoods across every country. So World Meteorological Organization, other stakeholder. So challenges की हम बात कर चुके हैं. Be it related to again climate finance सबसे बड़ा challenge है. Equitability in that, जो scale of finance हमें चाहिए, we are seeing differences there. So fertilizer imports and the challenges that India face, specifically what has or how has this conflict in Ukraine impacted the global fertilizer market and its effect on India. So definitely prices has increased. So when we see that even in Ukraine and Gaza, जो war हो रहा है, policymakers are concerned about further increase in the prices of the components which are used for making petroleum-based chemical fertilizers. So India had to increase its own fertilizer production capacity. तो ये एक तरीके से short term जो हमारे लिए benefit हुआ है. This is one of the benefits that we can become again self-sufficient. जो अभी तक हम import करते आ रहे थे, out of this situation we had to increase our domestic capacity. So Agriculture Ministry, country's largest food grains producing UP, recently the state has the stocks of fertilizers for only 10 more days. So short term measure है, again वो इतनी जल्दी जो हमारी जो कैपेसिटी है उसको फुलफिल नहीं कर सकते डोमेस्टिक नीड को, स्टिल विल हैव टू इम्पोर्ट फॉर सर्टेन टाइम पीरियड अगर हम सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी अचीव करने की भी बात कर रहे हैं. सो फर्टिलाइजर्स लाइक डायमोनियम फॉस्फेट एंड एनपीके फर्टिलाइजर दे आर एसेंशियल फॉर द ग्रोथ. सो पूरा एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर इन द सिक्योर फूड सिक्योरिटी से पूरा रिलेटेड है. सो करंट इम्पोर्ट फर्टिलाइजर सिनेरियो क्या है? सो latest data, although we are not having the latest data. So import policy on fertilizer, including GST or जो import duty is imposed. So concern is production capacity of fertilizers does not commensurate with the demand. अभी हम बात कर रहे थे. So domestic requirement DAP की 50 to 60%, 20% of the domestic requirement of urea, 100% domestic requirement of murate. So potash तो हम 100% import करते हैं इंडिया में. सो इतना हम इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, 100% म्यूरेट ऑफ पोटैश, 50 to 60% डीएपी इंपोर्ट करते हैं, 20% ऑफ यूरिया हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं. सो ईयरली कंजम्पशन कितना है केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स का इंडिया में? अप्रोक्सीमेटली 580 लाख मेट्रिक टन्स. और उसमें भी माइन्यूट जो कैटेगरी वाइज है, सबसे ज्यादा यूरिया है, then DAP, diammonium phosphate, and then potash. And then, okay, 121. So after urea, it is NPK, then we have DAP, then murate of potash. So what can India do? Enhance our fertilizer production, shift in the farming systems. Again, precision-based farming, we are talking about for tracking and assessing the soil quality or the quantity of fertilizer that would be required. Drone usage से again less और effective usage of fertilizers होगा so that wastage ना हो. तो cost of cultivation और हम कैसे और competitive और उसको कम कर सकते हैं. So investment in public cooperatives, private sectors engaged in manufacturing, that is another aspect. So 6 new urea plants have since been set up since 2012. So 36 urea manufacturing units हैं in like Ramgundam, Gorakhpur, Sindri Unit Fertilizers, Baroni, Hindustan Fertilizer Corporation is there. So new gas-based greenfield units they have been revived. So we are importing majorly from China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Iran, Egypt. So majorly these are West Asian countries. Russia-Ukraine conflict हो ही रहा है. Israel-Gaza war is also disrupting the situation. So 3-tier war की जब हम बात करते हैं तो apart from again rise in oil prices, second aspect हम fertilizer prices या fertilizer imports की भी बात कर सकते हैं. Why Supreme Court said कि आधार को हम date of birth के लिए as a proof use नहीं कर सकते हैं. So we know कि it is a unique ID card, 6-digit numbers हैं for below poverty line families to access the government schemes. So identification of beneficiaries, effective implementation of schemes में this is positively contributed. So National Identification Authority of Bill 2010 लेके आया गया था. This was introduced then. Article 110 of the Constitution allows a bill to bypass Rajya Sabha. तो एक ये controversy भी हुई थी कि this was introduced as a money bill. Then again Puttaswamy judgment, right to privacy का एक another aspect जो इसके ऊपर debate हुआ, that was there. So although उसकी constitutionality of Aadhaar was upheld in 2018, this was made mandatory. Linking of Aadhaar and PAN mandatory हुआ. Use of Aadhaar to establish identity of individuals to seek the benefits and subsidies. So identification of right beneficiaries firstly. That's how the social welfare schemes were better delivered in the far-flung areas at the same time. So Aadhaar could not be made mandatory for opening bank account, to get mobile phone, SIM, and admission to the education institutions. So Supreme Court की different rulings अगर हम देख रहे हैं, particularly in this case of as a proof of date of birth. So we see कि class 10 जो matriculation certificate है अभी हम उसको use करते हैं as a proof. It can be used in evidence. और आधार में आपका अगेन अब की जो एज है उसका रिलायबल प्रूफ नहीं हो सकता है, वो एक ही एस्पेक्ट है। अब एज जो आपके आधार में है वो ऑथेंटिक नहीं भी हो, मतलब उसको आप कैसे बैकग्राउंड चेक करोगे, वो कंसर्न है। तो बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट डेफिनेटली, और जो मैट्रिकुलेशन सर्टिफिकेट है उसी को यूज किया जाता है। सो हाउ डज C-295 ट्रांसपोर्ट प्लेन मैटर्स फॉर इंडियन एयरफोर्स? तो उसकी कैपेबिलिटीज की अगर हम बात करें, सो डेफिनेटली प्रोड्यूस्ड इन स्पेनिश इन स्पेन, नाउ पार्ट ऑफ एयरबस। So maximum speed of 480 kilometer per hour, capacity है 5 to 10 tons। पैराड्रोपिंग ऑफ ट्रूप्स के लिए यूज किया जाता है, तो हाई ऑल्टीट्यूड रीजन्स में इट कैन बोल्स्टर द मीडियम लिफ्ट टैक्टिकल कैपेबिलिटीज ऑफ द इंडियन एयरफोर्स। And deal definitely make in India, job creation, multiplier effects in the surrounding region. So Bharat Electronics Limited, Bharat Dynamics Limited. So barring components such as engine and avionics, Airbus will transfer manufacturing technology. So still ये अभी भी हमारे लिए चैलेंज रहने वाला है जब हम इंजन और एवियोनिक्स टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर की बात करते हैं। तो ये एक हमारे लिए फ्यूचर एरिया ऑफ कॉपरेशन होना चाहिए। सो 95% जो एयरक्राफ्ट है दैट वुड बी मेड इन इंडिया। प्राइवेट MSMEs स्टार्टअप्स को और बूस्ट कर सकता है। Next census, so much delayed census that should have happened in 2021, but because of COVID-19, we saw it wasn't possible at that point of time. So census findings will be crucial in shaping future, again, delimitation exercise as well as reservation of parliamentary seats for women. So implementation of, again, the women reservation law is also dependent upon the census and the delimitation. So Indian census is a two-step process involving पहले तो house listing होती है and numbering the exercise, followed by population enumeration. So house listing और जो numbering है वो एक साल पहले से वो exercise start हो जाती है between April and September, and population enumeration जो happens between the second and the fourth weeks of February और जो census year होता है. So we see every 10 years the census is done. It's very important when we're talking about चाहे like finance commission की recommendations, right? So it is on the basis of that data that is again the soul of चाहे policy formulation की बात हो या latest, it should be in sync with the latest and the ground level situation जो हमें पता लगती है, the changing demographics, yeah, how the demand and all of that, everything is changing. So delimitation suspended till 2026, 84th Constitutional Amendment Act के through in 2001. So जो next delimitation exercise होगी, it can be held on only based on जो census किया जाएगा after 2026. So इसका मतलब कि डीलिमिटेशन कुड हैव बीन डन ओनली आफ्टर 2031 सेंसस, क्योंकि 2021 में सेंसस होना था और ये बोल रहे 2026 के बाद डीलिमिटेशन होगा, तो नेक्स्ट सेंसस 2031 में होना था। So if the census, which takes 2 years to complete, begins next year, delimitation can be theoretically, it can happen immediately after that. तो मतलब 2031 से पहले हम करा सकते हैं, तो ये कि बेनिफिट भी हो गया एक तरीके से इनडायरेक्टली। तो सेंसस एक्ट ऑफ इंडिया 1948 इज देयर इज नो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल और लीगल रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर अ सेंसस एवरी 10 years। तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेटमेंट फॉर प्रीलिम्स। तो ब्रिटिश एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कैरिड आउट इट्स फर्स्ट ईयर of every decade in this convention, ये convention था that was followed after independence। so ऐसे ही ऑस्ट्रेलिया में देखा जाता है, it is done after every 5 years। तो दूसरा फिर कास्ट सेंसस की डिमांड होती है। सो कलेक्शन ऑफ कास्ट डेटा इन द सेंसस वुड नॉट बी अनप्रेसिडेंटेड, एंड so some information related to caste was obtained until 1941 census, so it was discontinued only in independent India। तो ये हमने बात कर ली द सेंसस. 50 more offshore firms they register for GST. So this is going to be boosting the compliance, increasing the tax revenue for the government. Tax to GDP ratio may be positive contribution hoga. Under GST provisions, overseas entities they are obligated to pay the tax when they offer digital services to end users in India. And offshore entities, so far we see 574 have registered. So they have to pay taxes online information database access or retrieval supplies way. So this is the digital mechanism. So Directorate General of GST Intelligence has been making continuous efforts in order to increase the registration of the offshore entities. So the revenue is increased from rupees 80 crores 2018 में to 2600 2700 crores. So this is again with the help of more digitization जिसकी वजह से transparency और accountability increase हुई. Now you cannot escape. तो जो tax avoidance था that we have been able to resolve through GST, through digitization, through ease of compliance and ease of filing. बट स्टिल जब हम डायरेक्ट टैक्स रिफॉर्म्स की बात करते हैं डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड वो अभी तक हमने इंडिया में इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया तो उससे रिलेटेड हमारे कंसर्न्स हैं. So center to extend the scheme promoting the farmer producer organizations by another 4 to 5 years with more financial aid. So few farmer groups they achieve steady growth. Steady is the keyword, steady growth. So Niti Aayog member Ramchand at the release of the state of sector reports for the FPOs to reach steady state of growth. Challenges facing them, they are humongous. So lack of development of robust business models is one challenge. Professional executive leadership nahi hai and team. Commoditized output hai, low margins are there, weak market linkages are there, insufficient backing by stakeholders. These are the challenge. So there's National Association for FPOs. So if we look at the numbers, under the scheme, 9,200 FPOs have been set up, either as companies or cooperatives. So we have, the target was 10,000 collectors by 2025. So more formalization of the agriculture sector, more again steady growth, more linkage, removal of again the middlemen would be the benefits. Then input licensing scheme of agriculture ministry, 30,000 licenses for supplying the fertilizers, seeds, pesticides. So it has to be in formal and authentic manner so as to again generate more trust and reliability by the farmers. So accessibility of finance for the farmers, even from NBFC companies, that is high. So this is one thing. So priority sector lending ke under, we definitely have agriculture sector as one of the major sectors under it. So that is important. Regional rural banks का important role है financial accessibility में. So strengthening of FPO federations important हमारे लिए priority है from district to national levels. So that जो fluctuations हैं जो volatility है हम उसको भी कम कर पाएं. Stability और ज़्यादा हो सकती है. Then projects healthcare sector, this we have talked about. Job letters, PLI scheme. फर्टिलिटी पैराडॉक्स क्या है. एक साइड हमें पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल भी करना है बिकॉज इंडिया इज वन द मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड एंड एट द सेम टाइम वी हैव टू एड्रेस द कंसर्न्स ऑफ द सर्दर्न स्टेट्स. तो कंसर्न्स और सर्दर्न स्टेट्स मेजरली इज एजिंग पॉपुलेशन. सो इसीलिए इसको हम फर्टिलिटी पैराडॉक्स बोल रहे हैं. तो दोनों चीजें एक दूसरे के कॉन्ट्रेरी हैं. तो व्हेन वी हैव अगेन a look at the numbers, total fertility rate is reckoned to be little over 2 at present. तो जो replacement rate है that is 2.1. So when the total fertility rate will fall below the replacement level fertility, वो एक major challenge हमारे लिए होना है. And उस stage से we can say population will actually start to decline. So in terms of population density अगर हम बात करते हैं तो India is at 20th spot globally. बट अमंग जब हम लार्ज कंट्रीज की बात करते हैं तो बहुत कम कंट्रीज हैं विच आर डेंसर विद द पीपल, वेरी फ्यू. सो कंट्रीज विद हायर पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी दैन इंडिया बट मोर डेवलप्ड, वो कौन है? साउथ कोरिया है, सिंगापुर है. दे आर स्ट्रिक्टली कंपेरेबल बट अगेन certain amount of comparison still can be done. तो डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड विंडो की जब हम बात करते हैं, इंडिया स्टिल हैज इट अप टिल 2056. So that is one benefit or one opportunity that still exists with India. तो इतने लंबे टाइम पीरियड के लिए जो जो साइकिल और जो विंडो है, ये बाकी कंट्रीज में हमें देखने को नहीं मिली है, बट दिस इज देयर इन केस ऑफ इंडिया. सो optimally capitalize on the youthfulness of our population. This must be reinforced with steps to enrich human facilities with education, skilling, even healthcare sector, enhance labor force participation rate amongst particularly women, which is abysmally at lower level. So this is the fertility paradox we can talk about. Letters to editor. So building AI infrastructure. May recently we saw NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang, he urged India to develop its own artificial intelligence, and that we have been obviously doing before all this AI infrastructure. So self-sufficiency is the focus, reducing reliance on foreign technology, indigenous AI manufacturing, boosting our economic growth, job creation, exports होगा और growth होगा. Strategic implications भी हैं, collaborations, collaborative investments in AI, R&D, developing local talent होगा, STEM sector promote होगा, transforming industries होगा, healthcare, finance, education, and public-private partnerships, workforce upskilling, these are crucial. So domestic AI manufacturing enhances India's global tech standing. So why South India wants big families? So because again we are seeing जो भी हमने fertility paradox में बात करी, rising elderly population, declining fertility is the causes for the worry. According to UNFPA, an International Institute for Population Sciences, Mumbai. That is the main reason. Fiscal cost और population dynamics. So यहाँ हम silver dividend की भी बात करते हैं, demographic winters की जो keywords की बात करते हैं, तो 15% weightage to population as per 2011 census, 15th finance commission जब हम terms of reference की बात करते हैं. So southern Indian states are losing out as they have effectively controlled the population. So total fertility rate or replacement rate की बात कर चुके हैं. Article 82 or 170 of the Constitution stipulates that delimitation exercise should occur every 10 years in concomitant with decennial 10-year population census होता है. So question यहाँ पे ये उठता है whether more children is the solution or not. Women with fewer than 2 kids then उनको incentivize किया जाना चाहिए, नहीं किया जाना चाहिए through public policies. Yeah, even women have again their own body integrity, so you can't even force women to have more children. So एक वो conflict है. Baby booms की बात कर रहे हैं, fiscal policies के through they have been able to again go ahead with this. जब हम चाइना में भी बात करते हैं तो they are going ahead with the fiscal policies या incentives. So 16th Finance Commission में जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, Commission has huge role to play in deciding the criteria for tax transfer, wage to be assigned, तो एक aspect है, and delimitation exercise after the next population census ही possible हो पाएगी. So quick commerce boom में we are seeing 2 lakh kirana stores है जिनको mom and pop shops बोलते हैं, जो local shops है, they have been shut. So this is All India Consumer Products Distributors Federation, state the data. So India's biggest retail distributors association है, and So currently India is estimated to have around 13 million of these stores. 13 million, over 10 million जो है tier 2 और smaller cities में है. So उनकी profitability, उनके business के ऊपर demand कम हुई है because again we are having quick commerce platforms emerging and उसका ये एक नेगेटिव फॉल आउट हमें देखने को मिला है. तो लोकल इकोनॉमी पे जो है, जो इनकम है लोगों की, उसके ऊपर डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट आएगा. और हमने कुछ कंसर्न्स की भी बात करी थी कि आप कैसे डिसाइड कर रहे हो कि कौन सा सप्लायर के प्लेटफॉर्म पे सेल कर सकता है. तो उसमें कोई ट्रांसपेरेंसी अकाउंटेबिलिटी नहीं है. डीप डिस्काउंट्स आप ऑफर करते हो, तो रोल ऑफ कंपटीशन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया देन ये इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाता है. ट्रेडिशनल रिटेलर्स टू compete and survive. So direct to customer brands witnessing 250% higher festive sales on these platforms. तो ease of accessibility जो है, availability है, वो increase हो गया. But still people don't realize कि वो कितना extra amount pay कर रहे हैं. जो अगर छोटा छोटा amount भी अगर आप add up करके देख तो as their fees या जो delivery charges होते हैं. So we are not able to realize on that thing. तो unfair competition practices भी एक concern है to quick commerce. So social security measures, augmenting them is important for nation building. Essential for nation building, particularly regarding laborers. The several key reasons. जब हम again stability, economic stability, human capital development, increased workforce participation, support for economic policies की बात करते हैं, तो प्रधानमंत्री श्रम योगी मानधन योजना, न्यू लेबर, 4 लेबर कोड्स, नेशनल पेंशन स्कीम, pension scheme and trader scheme hai. Unified web portal hai like Shram Suvidha portal to bring transparency and accountability. NCS launched for transformation, national employment services to provide variety of employment. Database of unorganized workers, e-Shram portal की जब हम बात करते हैं. ESIC hospitals की हमने बात करी. So All India Institute of Ayurveda. This was inaugurated. प्राइवेट मिलिट्री एयरक्राफ्ट फैसिलिटी ये हमने देख लिया, वडोदरा गुजरात. Now we see that the year 2023 also emerged as the warmest on record, surpassing 2016 levels. So greenhouse gases levels hit record in 2023. जो इंडिया का contribution था, it is at 8% to the global total. So from the perspective of data, we can just have a look. और बाकी जो greenhouse gases producing events है, forest fires increase हुए हैं, heat wave incidents increase हुए हैं, they have become more intense, more wider. El Nino weather phenomena impacted again the weakening of the monsoon. So WMO, World Meteorological Organization, mandate covers weather, climate, and water resources. So just under half of the carbon dioxide emissions remain in the atmosphere. उसके बाद ये scale of intensity or rising temperature हमें देखने को मिल रहा है. 30% is stored and sequestered by ocean. So India के जो greenhouse gases emissions है surged by 6% in 2023, 8% contribution to global. So 1990 से अगर हम कंपेयर करते हैं, वार्मिंग इफेक्ट कितना इंक्रीज हुआ ऑफ द ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस. सो मेनली CO2 की वजह से इट इज इंक्रीज बाय 51% in last 30 years. 51%, that is huge. So AI driven RBI system to stop cyber frauds in real time soon. तो आज ही हमने ये चैलेंज की बात की थी. So one of the solutions is this, and it has already developed the Mule Hunter AI system. So based on machine learning, large language models to help banks and financial institutions detect the so-called mule accounts which are used by fraudsters. So this can help in alerting the users and safeguard digital transactions. So preparedness of the banks would be enhanced. So current fraud rates remain low at roughly only 1 per 1,14,000 transactions. So particularly banking fraud, cybersecurity, IT examination cell 2015 under the Department of Banking Supervision, and created a fraud monitoring cell, also publishes directory of officials in the banks and financial institutions. So Indian Cyber Coordination Center say we see the RBI has been drawing on the insights. So data analysis is one important aspect here. So Deloitte NASIO cybersecurity study was done. So cybersecurity is now the top priority for governments, regulators, corporations, digital landscape. So safety and ethical usage should be the key. Oil dependency is no longer a major worry for India. Firstly, because of the big forex cushion that we have. So we were the fourth country in the world to surpass this level of $700 billion of forex reserves. We see off late relatively stable oil prices also because recently Israel did not attack the oil facilities of Iran. Otherwise, situation has been worse because of the attack, possible attack. So attack नहीं हुआ तो उसकी वजह से prices have fallen by close to 3 to 4% oil prices, and not get anxious about the imports nearing 90% of जो consumption है वो हम import कर रहे हैं crude oil से. So this is well above India 67% जो हमारा target है. तो target हमारा है कि 67% इसको reduce करना, but still it is at 90%. इसकी वजह से डेफिनेटली करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट हमारा इंक्रीज होता है, प्राइस इंक्रीज होता है, इंपोर्टेड इन्फ्लेशन होती है. 1990s में अगर हम गल्फ वॉर से भी ट्रेस करते हैं तो ऑयल क्राइसिस की वजह से देयर वाज गल्फ वॉर एंड प्राइसेस वर अगेन दे शॉट अप एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. सो it has remained, we can say, one of the major challenges for India to deal with. But again, renewable energy or जो capacity है जो हमारे पंचमृत targets हैं, they are going to help in terms of reducing our import reliance. Even diversifying different players. जब हम oil importing countries की भी बात कर रहे हैं तो short term measure पे India हम focus कर रहे हैं. And again, then building upon our strategic oil reserves is another way. So self-reliance is the way forward going ahead, given even the rising geopolitical risk and challenges. So rapidly rising demand and renewable alternatives, abhi still there's that gap existing between demand and supply. So thank you so much, everyone. That's all for the day. And do subscribe to our channel for further detailed discussions.